135-pounder, a lightweight, for all 16 years of his professional career. Jesus Chavez has fought for more than 10 years as a 130-pounder, is moving up in weight to take this fight, rather than to have taken a second fight at 130 pounds against Carlos Famous Hernandez of Los Angeles. He would have made twice as much money to fight Hernandez, but thought on principle that it was wrong for a governing body to be asking him to fight the same fighter again. He's already beaten him. So, putting principle ahead of pocketbook, Chavez moves up and takes the gamble against Johnson. Let's see how it pays off. Here's the tale of the tape for the two fighters, and you're going to see the age difference. Levander Johnson's 35. He's 3 years older than Chavez, but he's got a 4-inch height advantage. He's got a 3-inch arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in at 135, and perhaps looking for extra strength, Jesus Chavez overnight has gone up to 145. Levander Johnson unofficially at 144. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Levander Johnson Jesus Chavez fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you, Harold. Mexican-American star Jesus Chavez of Austin, Texas, has quite a following because of his deep background story. An intelligent young man, and Larry, yesterday's fighter meeting produced an unusual moment.
It sure did, Jim. He handed me a cell phone when he walked into our meeting room. I talked into the phone, and who was I talking to? His wife, who is a lieutenant in the Army from Baghdad. She was home on leave for his fight against Hernandez. She's back on duty, where she runs an engineering platoon. They will hear the fight or see the fight on delay later this morning.
Emmanuel, I mentioned that he is moving up in weight and taking a bit of gamble, having turned down money in favor of principle. The sport is often hard on people who make that decision.
Well, I think in this case, my first thought was he made a bad move, but after I thought about it further, Jim, I think it's a good move. Evander is a physically tall, big guy, but he doesn't really use his reach enough, and the fact that he's a banger. He's going to sit there and bang with Chavez, and he's getting a little long in the tooth, so to say. And after all those wars and his age, I think Chavez made a good move.
So this could be a good calculation on Jesus Chavez's part as he tries to open up the chance to fight name opponents both at 135 pounds or back at 130, which many still regard as his logical weight class. And now Chavez is having to wait in the ring just a moment as Levander Johnson takes a little bit longer to leave the dressing room, but here comes Johnson from the tough streets of Atlantic City. This is the classic paradigm of an American fighter who has fought his way out of poverty and hard knocks to get near the top.
And I have to admire him even more because all of his fights has been in other person's backyard, so to say, and in many cases even their own country.
Had to go to Italy to win this title belt, Larry.
For whatever it was worth, and it is worth some money to him for beating an Italian pastry. But a decade ago, he knocked out Charmaine Mitchell. And in his next fight in Mexico City, he was stopped by Angel Gonzalez, a very good fighter. Had he been able to win that fight, he would have reached this bigger stage a lot sooner. But he is here. He does have a chance to finally cash in on his 16-year professional career.
This should be an action fight. Neither of these guys hides. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Watch out for the knockout, my team is thorough. They doubted Levander Johnson, now we champion the world. Watch out for the knockout, my team is thorough.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, where tonight Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present Parade of Champions, an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. Live on HBO pay-per-view tonight, this bout is presented, this first contest, in association with DeBella Entertainment. Sponsored by Ice Link Watches and Remy Martin, all bouts sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. At ringside, the 3 judges doing the scoring on the 10-point system are Steve Epstein, Patricia Jarman, and Jerry Roth. And when the bell rings for this contest, the man in charge of the action inside the ring, your referee, Tony Weeks. And now, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, 12 rounds of boxing. This is for the IBF Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red, official weight 135 pounds. His professional record, 41 victories, including 28 knockouts with only 3 defeats. Originally from Parral, Mexico, now living and fighting out of Austin, Texas, the challenger, 2-time super featherweight champion of the world, Jesus El Matador Chavez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white, trimmed with blue, official weight, also 135 pounds. His professional record, 34 victories, including 26 knockouts, with 4 defeats and 2 bouts even. From Atlantic City, New Jersey, presenting the reigning, defending IBF Lightweight Champion of the World, Levander Johnson.
Hey, take it off. All right, let's go, center ring. Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, if it goes right here, it's okay. Anything below that's gonna be low. Right here is okay. Anything below that's gonna be low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Johnson, the title holder, opened as a slight favorite in this fight. He is now more than a 2-to-1 underdog. I'm curious, Jim, what's going to happen with the jabs, because when the short guy like Chavez has a jab, he can surprise a taller guy who has a jab.
Let's go back to the point you made before the bell. Odds have shifted dramatically in the last several days. Chavez becoming more than a 2-to-1 favorite over Johnson in what started out as an even fight. Why, Larry?
Well, primarily because of the backing of the Mexican fans here. Johnson is largely unknown despite his title and does not have much of a following.
And a lot of people in Las Vegas may remember in February of '04, Jesus Chavez's spirited 12-round effort against Eric Morales, which turned out to be based on one arm as he fought the entire fight with a very badly injured left arm.
Well, my personal observation is I think Levander's a good fighter, but the fact that he doesn't use his height as much as he should. He starts off boxing and he gets engaged in the slugging. And Chavez is more adept, I think, at that game.
And one of the things Chavez told us in the meeting with regard to that is, look, I know everybody expects me to try to win this fight on the inside, going to Johnson's body, as he did there, but he said, I can jab him too.
But what I'm looking at, Johnson's head is right up in there, and it just seems to me a matter of time before he gets caught right on the chin.
Then the question becomes, does Chavez, a 130-pounder moving up, have the pop to hurt a 135-pound fighter?
I don't know, but I think he does, from what I can see right here.
For Johnson's part, he says, well, the guy has to come at me. This should be easy because he doesn't exactly protect his head. I should be able to land my jab and my right hand over the top.
For the most part, Johnson is keeping his head too high, though. He's got that much upper body movement.
And you saw Chavez crashing the left hook into Levander Johnson's head. Chavez's aggression and multiple punch output has so far given him the edge. There's a good jab from Levander Johnson, and another.
Levander should stick to the jab and not try to bend in and start punching inside, because he's not that coordinated inside.
So he should stay out here and use his height and his length.
It's Larry Holmes type jab. Just stick to that. See, right there is where he's in danger, when he's in that distance right there where he gets hit.
Chavez bodied Johnson off and hit him with the right hand, then stepped in with the right hand lead, figuring I made contact before, I'll do it again. Good left hook by Levander Johnson. Chavez comes back with his own left hook and wobbles Johnson with a blast to the midsection.
This is the wrong fight for Johnson, though. And exactly what I figured he would fall into eventually.
It's a fight that Chavez loves as long as he can take Johnson's punch.
It's a hell of a first round, folks.
Chavez is almost never in a dull fight.
Suba la mano, güey. Sube las manos. Lo único que no hiciste bien fue subir las manos. Sube la mano y sigue trabajando. Lift up your hands.
Keep working your jab.
Close your hands, listen.
Que no te pegue.
Don't let him hit you. Move your waist. Feint him. He doesn't have no reflexes.
Recover. Make sure you got your hands back after you fire. Okay. And you got to step around off your shot. All right?
Don't stand in front of me with these punches. Slide around, put your hands up. Okay? All right.
Breathe. Relax your breathing. Take a deep one before you go out.
In recent years, the only setbacks Chavez has suffered have been to Floyd Mayweather and Eric Morales.
And in round one, according to CompuBox, Chavez landed 28 out of 79 punches, 21 of 47 power shots, and a small edge statistically in the round for Chavez. Johnson landed 20 out of 61 by CompuBox count. There's the jab, upstairs and to the body by Levander Johnson. He heard his father and trainer Bill Johnson say, hey, you're going to stand in front of him, you better keep your hands up. And Johnson seems more disciplined about it now than was the case early in round one. There's Chavez again.
That's the distance he's at. As long as he keeps his distance between him, he works his jab, he's doing very good.
When Chavez gets close, though, he's able to throw more punches and land both to the body and the head. Good body shot by Chavez there. Momentarily freezes Levander. Uppercut and a hard right hand. Levander not able to get off at this range, needs to step aside. Chavez has him trapped.
He's got in a fighting mode now, and I don't think he can get back into his boxing mode.
Great body shot by Chavez with the left hand there. Jesus Chavez is able to dictate the action just the way he wants. Has to take some leather from Levander Johnson, but at this range, Johnson is not able to extend and get his power.
Well, in every fight, everybody comes in with a pattern or a style that they would like to make the fight move into, and at this stage, it's moving towards more what Chavez wanted than it is towards what Johnson wanted.
A war of wills? Just the fact that Chavez is able to
absolutely,
himself?
absolutely. That was a left hook right there. I think that he's in trouble.
And there's a blood from the right eye of Levander Johnson.
That last left hook opened up a cut, and it looks like it could be a bad cut.
Johnson's been stopped in all three of his losses over the years.
Stop it, there you go.
By Miguel Angel Gonzalez, and by Gussie Nazaroff, and by Javier Jauregui. Two of those were in title shots. The win over Stefano Zoff in Italy earlier this year was the third title shot for Johnson.
Even when Johnson jabs, and he does have a good jab, his legs seem to be so stiff and rigid at the end of his jab. There's no flexibility at all.
This has been a very good round for Jesus Chavez, who hammered Levander Johnson for a long stretch along the ropes and has cut him outside the right eye. Now Johnson's back at the range where he might be effective, but Chavez just rushes right past his jab.
Chavez looks much more fluid, much more natural with his movements.
Right hand body shot by Chavez. Now Johnson comes back with his own left hook to the body and takes a left hook for his trouble. big round for Jesus Chavez.
The first round was terrific. The second round was terrific plus.
Meanwhile, next Saturday on Boxing After Dark, heavyweight showdown between Vladimir Klitschko and Samuel Peter, plus Miguel Cotto versus Ricardo Torres. Immediately following boxing on HBO, the behind-the-scenes documentary, Countdown to Tarver Jones 3. And October 1, live on HBO pay-per-view, the rubber match between Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones.
Relax, hold up. Relax. Check it out. Check it out. You cannot, the ropes are not your friend. Okay. Remember that. In the center of the ring with your jab working, all right? We need a good round of jabbing to get yourself right back. All right? You hear me? Put the jab in.
There's a wide open Leander Johnson absorbing a left hook from the smaller challenger. Incidentally, from the ringside, we got word that they're calling the cut caused by an accidental butt. We didn't catch it. Perhaps our whizzes back in the truck can find that.
To me, it looked like it was one of those left hooks, just like what he just got hit with just there.
Well, we saw the perfect left hook in replay, but I didn't see any blood fly at the end of it. It was a relatively small cut. And Bill Johnson, the trainer, who also does the cut work, has closed it up for the moment. Chavez going back to work on the body. Levander trying to find a way to get something done inside against a guy who's quicker and craftier in there.
Yeah, Levander is really a warrior. I remember a few years back when I was training with Jeff Finnick, and we were in Atlantic City, and Jeff Finnick and Levander worked out, and it was a war. It was just what you're seeing here is what we had in the gym. And Levander likes to bang. Even though he's a tall guy, he really enjoys fighting.
Jeff Finnick never hit from anybody either.
No, it was quite a war, believe it. And after the fight, the workout, it was a war.
The way this fight is going, it's going to be who can carry on for the longest, a battle of stamina and attrition.
Jesus Chavez landed 33 out of 60 power shots in the second round. Levander Johnson has given back a little better here in the third.
And incidentally, Johnson's corner did a good job of patching up the cut so far.
Stop. Let him up.
Good left hook by Chavez. Stunned Johnson and stunned the crowd.
The left hook has been landing continually all night.
He's getting a great look in there.
And he follows it with really good body work, Emmanuel.
Yes.
He's not a headhunter.
No, he's mixing up his tag very, very good. I just see the fight as it's the fight that he would dream of to me.
He's crowding Johnson, not allowing the taller, longer-armed man to extend his shots. And he's taking advantages of opportunities inside both to rip Johnson to the head and slam him to the body. Straight right hand by Levander Johnson. Chavez doesn't back off. Good left hook inside by Johnson. Chavez ducking and slipping, trying to find another opening. Backs Johnson off. As soon as the bell sounds, we'll show you the moment in round two that produced that cut next to the right eye, or at least perhaps this is the moment that produced the cut. Let's see if this particular accidental headbutt might be the one. This again from round two. You've just watched round three. Again, no spray of blood. Hard to tell.
That would seem like it was more on the cheekbone below the eye instead of above the eye.
All right.
I don't believe that butt caused the cut.
And watch your head going up in the air. When
More likely it was a left hook, so it would seem.
How you feeling, Chad? Good. Where that in swell at?
Clean up the extra grease,
Give me the grease.
Make him miss and then hit him. The jab and then that left hook. The right hand. Stand right firm. And then plant yourself so you can hit the left hook.
Atlantic City is about 45 miles from Philadelphia. Leander Johnson spent a lot of time sparring in those Philadelphia gyms, and you could see it right here and just how tough he is.
You mentioned, Emmanuel Stewart, that this might be the fight that Jesus Chavez dreamed of, at least in terms of style. And here's a statistic that typifies the way Jesus likes to fight. He threw 79 punches in the first round. He was getting warmed up. He threw 105 punches in the second round. He threw 113 in the third.
Yeah, he's getting warmed up now. But Levander is just such a determined guy. And as Larry pointed out, he fights with that tough street-type mentality. Never gives up.
Harold, how do you have it through three?
Okay, Jim. 30-27, 3 rounds to nothing. Jesus Chavez. Jim, let me say something. The only one that can call whether a cut is caused by a punch or a headbutt is referee Tony Weeks. He's the only one that's allowed to make that decision. Okay, that's number one. If this fight gets stopped because of that cut, it's before 4 rounds have ended, the fight would be a no decision and Johnson would keep his title. If it goes beyond the 4th round, we go to the scorecards. Jesus Chavez showing us 6-inch left hooks. I mean, you get maximum power when you throw that shot 6 inches. 3-0, Chavez.
I scored the first round even, 2 rounds for Chavez.
Emmanuel Stewart nodding on the first round even part. So we may have unanimity between Emmanuel and Larry on the scoring of an even round, and that's probably a positive sign for the future of the sport.
but with Chavez, you know, even though I have him slightly ahead, he can never relax because Levander is always throwing punches, and he's a good puncher himself.
Once again, remember, Chavez is the guy who's fought for 10 years as a 130-pounder. Johnson has spent his entire 16-year career fighting in the lightweight division, 5 pounds north. It may not seem to the layman like a lot, but in this sport, 5 pounds can be a very significant difference.
And I'd like to point out his natural size and bone structure is much bigger than that. When he's not fighting in the gym, he's usually 154 pounds.
Oh yeah, he has the height of a middleweight, and his body could easily have been the body of a middleweight.
That's correct. He's a very big physical guy.
Chavez doing some boxing here and beating Johnson to the punch with his jab.
He's just more fluid with his movement and his punches.
And he's also invested a lot more in body punching.
Like that. Double left hook to the body by Chavez, and you could hear the deep thudding noise as he dug those hooks in. There's another one. And Johnson reeled into the ropes off that one. Now Levander trying to jab his way off the ropes, but Chavez has him crowded again and is ripping that left hook to the ribcage. Jesus Chavez, the smaller man, manhandling Levander Johnson in the corner.
I tell you to use your legs to walk him out this way, and use your legs to walk him out when you're on the ropes.
Okay. We're on.
Yeah, you take it. You saying you're all right? We got to get it together now.
Please, take that.
Step around. You look for your counter shots when you step around.
Jab, okay, and then the left hook. He's finished. You got him already. Yeah. And the uppercut.
Now this is what a real professional does. Crowds him, hits him with a good right hand, and comes back just like that.
And keeping his chin down all the time.
Yeah.
Average jabs per round. Chavez 10 out of 39 by CompuBox count. Johnson 5 out of 20. Chavez is just throwing so many punches and getting off so effectively that he's limiting Johnson's offense by forcing him to defend all the time. Straight right hand. Grazes the chin of Johnson. Chavez moved in and out that time before Johnson was able to get at him. Every once in a while, Chavez will step back and box to change the pace and give Johnson something else to think about.
Yes, he's changing up and showing his natural rhythm that he has in moving and boxing, doing things from different angles, and then he'll go right back to inside fighting again, banging to the body and to the head.
Hold him, man. Hold him.
Good left hook to the body by Levander Johnson. Taking a page out of Chavez's book.
Levander's still a very dangerous man at this fight. He's never given up, and he's still punching with full power. His right hand is very good. He doesn't do as good with his hook, but he still has a very good right hand.
Chavez, for his part, says he's well aware of that. Right hand lands for Johnson. Now Chavez decides, all right, I've spent enough time outside getting hit by the jab and the right hand. I'll step back in and do what I do. And there he is, crowding Levander again. Chavez with a hard right hand to the rib cage that time. Johnson cuffing Chavez around the head. Little tight left and right hand shots. Again, harder for Levander to get his power because his arms are longer when they're fighting in close quarters like this. And here comes Jesus Chavez, basically just bodying Johnson to the ropes one more time. Interestingly, though they're both a part of sports royalty in Austin, Texas, Larry, Jesus Chavez has never met Lance Armstrong. Maybe that's because, as a fighter, he's never going to get on his bicycle. We presume it'll happen sooner or later. Good uppercut by Chavez. And he comes back with a straight right hand, mixing his punches up beautifully there.
Just when I thought that Johnson had his best round,
Chavez rallied at the end.
Yeah. You gotta avoid his punches. Make him miss. You gotta pressure him, but carefully. Don't let him get set. Keep your hands up. Yeah, be a little more loose. Jab and then uppercut and left hook and the right hand. Throw that left hook with all the power.
When a fighter takes the kind of gamble that Chavez has, which he calls the biggest gamble of his life, taking this fight for about half of what he could have gotten for a rematch with Hernandez, maybe it supplies a little bit extra incentive and energy, Emmanuel.
I think so. Otherwise, he said, I'm going to look like a fool to everyone in every way. Losing the fight and losing money. And that evidently he feels good about himself in this fight. Maybe he's just tired of fighting the same guy over and over, too.
Well, he's had a lot of fights against good opponents. It's been a spirited few years for Jesus Chavez, who came back from personal difficulties early in his life, got the help of people who took an interest in him. As a high schooler in Chicago, he took a ride in a car with the wrong group of people, wound up spending 2 years in prison for robbery, and then because he was not a United States citizen, he was deported to Mexico. Began traveling back and forth from Mexico into the USA to try to pursue his boxing career, and eventually a group of people got behind him, supported him because of his great personal qualities, and now he has the opportunity to stay indefinitely in the United States and to continue to pursue his boxing career amid a documentary film, a book, and a variety of other treatments of his life story.
You know, this is a vicious fight of attrition. Both fighters, not even halfway through this fight, have absorbed more punches than many fighters do in whole fights.
And Levander is fighting an extremely determined fight. He's fighting with that mentality that if I go down, man,